Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and early 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, today I want to talk about a few different things going on in the news from my liberal point of view. Let me know what you guys think about these stories. All right, first of all, California, Governor Gavin Newsom won the recall by a pretty good margin, too. Let me just talk about, I don't know a whole lot about him. It's pretty interesting that 3,000 miles away that we know what's going on in California. I saw an interview. They were talking to some Angelinans, from people from Los Angeles, and a lot of them knew less, I think, about what was going on than some of us on the opposite coast. But anyway, okay, Larry Elder. Let me just talk about this guy for a few minutes here. First of all, you can't trust somebody who doesn't have honor and allegiance to his own where he came from. It's like me sitting here and talking smack about Native Americans. It's like me sitting here and saying that all Native Americans are drinkers. That's put in nicely. Something like that. You know, if people who don't have honor from where they came from, you can't trust them. But it's just like Trump supporters. Trump supporters support this guy because it all goes back to BLM and their anger that some people want the same rights that they have. And let's be honest, it goes back to talking about reparations for African Americans for slavery. I think, as usual, a lot of Trump supporters are getting into a total tizzy whenever they hear about anybody supposedly getting anything for free because they have to pay for it. Just like I've told you guys before. Somebody sees me riding a bike at 9 a.m. in the morning and they want to know why I'm not at work. Why do they have to pay for my benefits or whatever? You know, they just assume so much, always in other people's business, always crying about life not being fair. They have to pay more than their share. But anyway, that's what this is all about. And when this guy, Larry Elder, came out, and somebody that doesn't honor, like I said, doesn't honor his own people, can't be trusted. Not his own people, but where he came from. The people like that can't be trusted. If he sells out, it's family, then he'll sell out anybody. All right, so the reason he says this is just, the reason he talks about reparations for slave owners is just talking smack, trying to get the best, trying to get favor from Trump supporters. It's weak, it's wishy-washy. Here's another interesting thing. So just in the last 12 hours or so, since Newsom won, Elder hasn't said anything about there being the rigged election. He was already saying that he smelled, what was it, hijinks or shenanigans. That was his word, shenanigans, like Donald Trump. Now this is why I think Larry Elder and this Republicans in general realized that they can't keep claiming this, that they're kind of getting away with it so far with claiming this rigged election stuff with Trump just because of this Trump cult. But I think they realize that if they keep doing this, every time they lose an election, they say it was rigged, that it's gonna become obvious that they're just sore losers. It's gonna become more obvious. I think that's really why. I think they realized how bad they look, claiming a rigged election when the votes hadn't even been counted yet. I think that's why they backed off that claim so far. Who knows? It would not surprise me a bit if Larry Elder starts talking about recounts and rigged elections. That's pretty much status quo for sour grapes Trump supporters. All right, anyway, let's go move on to Donald Trump now. Another new book, I believe it's called Peril by Bob Woodward. Now, reporters, if they don't have their credibility, they don't have anything. So I'm saying that because I believe Bob Woodward. I believe what he says. I think he's one of the most respected journalists in the field. So when he comes out and talks about in this book, this is some scary stuff. How Trump supporters aren't terrified by this. The reason they're not terrified because they think it's just, well, this is my guy. And he's doing terrible things, but he's my guy. So he won't do terrible things to me. He'll do terrible things to people I don't like. So that's okay. I was thinking today, an analogy. Because Trump supporters have this anger and this hate and this penchant for saying things just to tick people off. They call it Trump speaking his mind. But it's saying hurtful, like, you know, him mocking the handicap guy. And something it reminded me of, I was trying to picture something that reminded me of that ugly anger. And it reminds me of, say, when somebody runs a red light, say somebody runs a red light in front of you. You're sitting, your light turns green, and somebody just runs right through that light, and you see their face go right by. And you beep the horn. Hey, what are you doing? You know, you're going to cause an accident. And they flip you off. You know, that feeling, that person right there, they know that they're wrong. They know they're wrong, but they have that attitude. You know what? Screw you. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. You know, it's because it's all about me. And how dare you beep at me? Screw you. That right there, that picture right there occurred to me. That person running the red light, knowing that they're picking the wrong thing, they're doing the wrong thing, and just not caring, just thriving on the hate and the anger and fear. That's what it reminds me of. Trump supporters remind me of. Okay, so Donald Trump now. It comes out that Pence actually called Dan Quayle, and Dan Quayle talked him off a ledge. Because Pence, he was getting so much pressure from Trump to deny the election, which he cannot do. Dan Quayle told him you have to listen to the parliamentarian, who is the person that states the rules of the United States, of the Constitution. I know I might not be saying this quite right, but the gist of it. And it terrifies regular Americans like me how close we came. You know how Donald Trump said stuff like, just overturn the election, just deny the electors, and I'll take care of the rest. Or we just need to find another 70,000 votes. And how Trump supporters can be okay with this just because it's their guy, and it's not gonna. They think it's not gonna affect them. They don't mind an authoritarian. They almost want an authoritarian because it's going to make their enemies' lives miserable. And it doesn't have anything to do with them. It's somebody on their side. They don't foresee how it'll come back on them. You can't put somebody like that in power without it having a kickback, I think, on you. You can't have an authoritarian in power and not have some bad effect on every citizen. All right, last thing I want to talk about. An article in the New York Post. Once again, I'm not doing this on purpose. It's just I came across another article in the New York Post. And it talks about the polls and how, I assume they're talking about politicians here, and how they didn't learn from the opioid crisis. And they're talking about legal marijuana. And this ticked me off right away. I'll put the link down below so you guys could read it yourselves. They basically, I'll sum it up. They compare legal marijuana to the opioid crisis. And that just ticked me off. Because the thing that bothers me the most there is they're taking away the danger, the severity of the opioid crisis. You have to read the article yourself, but in this, they actually use this as a point. They said that most of the mass shooters have been habitual marijuana smokers. They use most of the mass shooters probably also went to McDonald's once a week. So what? They actually use this as a point. I've been through both. I did both for decades. And let me tell you, you're talking apples and oranges here. You know, I could sit here and talk about this for hours, but the fact that they're just talking out their backside again, the New York Post I'm talking about comparing legal marijuana to the opioid crisis, and I haven't smoked marijuana in 15 years. I could actually tell you guys the truth. I actually cannot remember what marijuana smells like. I swear to God, I have not smelled marijuana. I don't go to concerts or sporting events or really anything like that. I have not smelled marijuana in 15 years. I forgot what it smells like, and I'm fine with that. So I'm not particularly for. I think legalized marijuana is a good thing. I have no intent on ever using it. It's not my thing. But I think it will help a lot of people, and I think the taxes that could be pulled in, it's one of the biggest cash crops in America. Of course, it's a good idea. I think that when you balance out the pros and cons, it's definitely legalizing pot is the smart thing to do. And you're wasting jail time and court resources on putting these people in jail, when it's the majority of Americans, of good Americans, are the people that are thrown in jail and arresting. Not so with the opioid crisis. The fact, like I said, I could sit here and talk about this for hours, but I'm just going to scratch the surface right now. You guys could read the article, and I'll do another video just talking about this in the coming week, let's say. All right, I touched on a few things. Let me know what you guys think about those stories. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a great Wednesday.